Hi, and thank you for joining us for What's the Dish, the podcast serving up a taste of the world. We'll cover travel, food finds, dining, and speaking with chefs, speaking with home cooks, and even with celebrities. It's not too tall an order for us. We're here to serve you delectable tidbits about the culinary world. I'm your host, Crystal Johnson. So glad you joined me today for the first episode of What's the Dish. Today, we're going to take a trip to the red carpet. You're my guest. Now, for years, I've been asking celebrities about their favorite foods. And to my surprise, the question almost always disarms them. In a media world that usually makes celebrities on guard, the simple and unexpected question of what's your favorite dish evokes thought and heart from them. A few years ago, I attended the Pan-African Film Festival, and I met a Hollywood power couple, Salli Richardson and Dondre Whitfield, on the red carpet. Now, for those of you who don't know, Salli Richardson is a film and television actress and director. After a successful career acting in film and television with the likes of Keenen Ivory Wayans, the actor, director, producer, and Mario Van Peebles as well, Salli took a page from their book and began directing film and television. As for her husband, Dondre, he gained attention as Robert from The Cosby Show. He won 3 daytime Emmys for his part in All My Children, and most recently, people recognize him from the hit drama series Queen Sugar. Salli and Dondre were so delightful and fun to speak with. And at these events, I normally produce or I report, and the question that I squeeze in is, what's the dish?
She is a good cook.
He loves my kale greens, and I make some cinnamon cornbread that he has to have with it.
Part of her cooking is, I wouldn't say half the reason, but I would certainly attribute a quarter of the reason why we got married in the first place. The way to a man's heart is his stomach. And once I figured out that she could actually, she's stunning. She has a great sense of humor. I'm from New York, she's from Chicago, so she's a homegirl. That made me feel right at home. And then when I figured out she could cook, that was it.
Gotta cook.
So, folks, he says the way to a man's heart is through the stomach. Whether it's serving kale greens, cornbread, or, excuse me, in Salli's case, not just cornbread, but cinnamon cornbread, which seems like a good start for enticing someone to be interested in you. So if you're looking for a delicious greens recipe or cornbread, visit our sponsor's website, Multicultural Cooking Network, and you'll find an array of international cuisines, from tacos to green tea ice cream to meat and potatoes. Now, what do you think? Is cooking the way to a man's heart? Or is it the way to a woman's heart, for that matter? I'm so thankful to have a boomer join us in this studio today. And not just any boomer, but my mother, my mommy. So thank you for coming into the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So I want to pose the question to you. You're speaking on behalf of the boomers. Is it true that food is the way to a man's heart, that it is through the stomach? The way to a man's heart is through the stomach.
Well, you have to realize I am a baby boomer, but my feelings are that he can cook as well as me. I feel if I'm working, he's working, whoever gets home first can start the dinner. But I know that most moms love it if the other person can cook. And especially she feels like her son is getting a healthy meal if the woman is cooking.
Dondre, Salli, and I are not Gen Z. We are not millennials. So is that thinking old school? Is that notion of being the way to a man's heart old school? In my experience, I've cooked meals for men. It may have swooned them a bit, but it never helped me seal the deal. I do believe that food is a great connector. It may not be an aphrodisiac, but in some cases, whether male or female, cooking impresses. And not only does it impress, but it makes an impression. Think of your favorite dish your grandma or grandpa, parent, Aunt Jane, or your cousin makes. When you reconnect with family during a holiday, I bet you know what you long for someone to make. Shoot, I know. I want my mom to make sweet potato pie. I want my cousin Joanne to make lasagna. I can just see that cheese oozing from out of the pan. I believe it's not simply a tantalizing of the taste buds, but a deep-seated emotional connection. Come on, the movie Ratatouille proved that. I love the confidence Salli exuded in the interview about knowing what's the dish for her husband. And I also love how he mentioned that cooking was only 25% of what attracted him to her. Only 25%. So what's your dish? Pupusas? Matzo ball soup? Jerk chicken? No matter the walk of life, there is a dish. But what's the dish? Join us the next time for another edition of What's the Dish? And thank you for joining us today. Subscribe and don't miss that next episode. In the meantime, buen provecho, bon appetit, and happy eats. Again, I want to thank my mother, Patsy Johnson, for representing the baby boomers and coming out and just kind of supporting me on this particular launch episode. Thank you so much for coming out today.